You are now listening to The World Within. The World Within. With your hosts, Christian and Ethan.
Welcome to the World Within podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Christian,
and I'm Ethan. And so we got a great episode today. I want to say, I'm pretty excited for it. It's something that's really interesting. But before we get into that, I want to say huge thanks to everyone who's downloaded. We're almost at 400 downloads.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
which
a
is
crazy
insane number.
Yes,
that's a big
you
number.
Guys rock. You guys rock.
All the reviews on Apple Podcasts, all the likes on YouTube, and everyone on our social medias. Our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Shout out to all of them for shouting us out, and we have a bunch of people liking our posts, sharing our posts, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome, and we definitely appreciate all of it.
Oh yeah,
guys.
for sure.
Definitely is awesome, and I just want to say, we've been killing it. We have patreon.com/theworldwithin. We got t-shirts, we got stickers, we have shout outs we'll give. We have a bunch of stuff, so go check it out. It's as cheap as $2.
$2 a month.
That's cheap, man.
It's cheap.
That's some cheap stuff. So definitely go check out that. And like you were saying, social medias, that's huge.
Yeah.
And we want, if you guys could just hop on to the Apple Podcast, give us a review. Be honest, whatever. Just let us know, and maybe we'll give you a free little gift if you just screenshot your review and send it to us. We'll surprise you.
Yeah, for sure. That's really, I love reviews on Apple Podcasts. It's a great one.
Yeah, we get so excited.
Yeah.
Whenever we get one. So yeah, it's deeply appreciated. So.
Bruh.
All right, sorry for that little technical difficulty there. Yeah. We got it figured out now. But let's jump into it. We're talking about the Salem Witch Trials here. We're talking about things that, everyone knows the Salem Witch Trials.
I'd say a good amount, especially in America.
Yeah, it's pretty known knowledge, but we're talking stuff, cold hard facts that you guys maybe not have heard about.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that's taught in the schools.
Do they teach it in the schools?
I taught it in school.
Did you?
Yeah.
You taught it?
I taught it. I was the teacher. I was like, hey, everybody stop. I can tell you about this.
Interesting. So, the Salem Witch Trials in Massachusetts, it's their claim to fame.
Massachusetts.
So it all kind of started in 1641. So in Salem, the Puritan legal code was put into place. And, that's
religious.
It's
very
religious laws in place.
Yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Interesting that they, are trying, they kind of came here to get away from England, kind of pushing their religion stuff on them.
Yeah, exactly.
They come here and just make the rules.
Do it all over again.
Yeah, but so it kind of had a hierarchy law.
Yeah.
Kind of, so, first is the worst thing you could do ever. And then last is it's still one of the top 5 worst things you could do, but it's not the worst.
It's bad, but you
didn't do the first 4. Maybe we'll let you off on a
Well, so it all starts with idolatry, which is just basically praying to another god.
Don't pray to other people.
Pray to others.
This is our community. If you pray to anyone else, we're gonna hang you.
Exactly. Brad Pitt is a good-looking guy. Don't pray to him.
Don't pray to him.
Just don't pray to
Brad Pitt.
Come on. 1641 Brad Pitt.
He's a vampire, I've heard.
He is a vampire, so I could see that.
Who knows?
What's number 2, Ethan?
So, witchcraft.
Oh, wow.
Jumps right into witchcraft.
Into it.
Don't miss a beat there. The second worst thing you could ever do is commit witchcraft.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of what this all is based on here. People started doing witchcraft. Who would have thought that people would do the number 2 worst thing?
Who would have thought?
They don't do the number 1. Oh, I guess they kind of do the number 1 worst thing.
Kind of
with the devil. But
number 3, blasphemy.
Another thing here that
don't say God smells bad. Don't say God or Jesus, wasn't cool.
You're gonna get hung.
You'll get hung.
Hanged?
Hung?
You're gonna get hang.
We're gonna hang 10. We're gonna hang it. Number 4?
Murder, which I would think would be probably number 1.
Yeah, I would think it was number 1, but
so
whatever.
Here at number 5, which is kind of goes into murder, I'd say poisoning. You're kind of murdering.
Not everyone dies in a poisoning.
True, you'll just get really ill.
So
in
the thing,
1641, you'll probably die.
If my mom has bad cooking, can I just say, hey, poisoning? Or I could really just call
that
her.
might be blasphemy.
I could call her a witch.
You could call her a witch and she'd be fine. You'd be all right.
She wouldn't be fine.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Unless she was a witch.
And
would just be okay.
Number 6 here is it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
I'd say it's pretty awful, and it's bestiality. Which
why is that like pretty?
There had to be something. You know, when laws are put in place, there's something that happened that you need to stop it from happening.
Little donkey fucker out there, little chicken toucher.
It's 1641. You're probably
bored.
I mean,
you're really.
You have to be really bored in 1641. But.
Yeah, you have to. So all those laws were kind of set in place. And then fast forward 51 years, and we're sitting January 1692.
That's a long time.
That is a very long time. So these rules are just kind of common knowledge. You know, it's been around for 50 years. Like, you know it.
Passed down at least one generation.
So there were two little girls here. One was 9 years old, named Elizabeth Paris, and the other was 11-year-old Abigail Williams. They started acting kind of weird and bizarre, and so Elizabeth was the daughter, and Abigail was the niece to Reverend Samuel Paris, who is kind of like the main guy.
Oh, he's
for
the
this
big guy.
whole like
he's the Reverend.
Salem witch.
He's the Reverend.
Yeah, he is the first ordained minister of Salem. You know, he's the guy.
He's the guy around town. Yeah, for sure.
So it's his daughter and his niece that are affected. So he's taking this like deadly serious.
So they were having this strange behavior, which we were saying. But that included they would be making random odd noises and like screaming randomly, which isn't great. They were contorting their bodies and they were throwing objects.
Wow.
I wonder if they were just being girls.
I think Netflix dropped a TV show called Cuties.
I don't know.
Kind of about this. Kind of sounding exactly like this.
I don't know if that's what it's about. But so the girls, when they were asked, why are you doing this? Why are you acting like this? They were saying that they reported an invisible man or being that was biting and pinching them.
He's invisible. You know what? This comes to place later on.
It does come into place.
An invisible cloak, potentially.
But is it the Invisible Man? Or is it Harry Potter? He had an invisible cloak. Or is it Frodo?
Daddy did.
Or is it, it could be Frodo.
It could be Frodo.
He has the invisible ring, you know.
That's true.
Could be a lot of people here.
There's a lot of people who with invisibility.
Yeah.
So, Ann Putnam and other girls kind of around Salem, they began saying that they were feeling kind of the same things happening, and they started acting very similar shortly after. And get this, a Salem doctor said it was supernatural causes. That was his diagnosis.
Thanks,
there.
Doc.
And here's something noteworthy. So he was the only doctor in Salem, and he could read, but he didn't know how to write.
Yeah, so
I mean, there's already a red flag right there.
I mean, this is 1692. I mean,
yeah,
you can't imagine everyone can write, but you would assume that the person in charge of making sure people don't die,
is one of them. Yeah, he would be at least somewhat.
Come on, he's the only one you have.
Yikes!
Not great.
That's
not
yikes. Great. That's a big yikes there.
Especially, I don't think that's a medical field thing you can be claiming there. Doc.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's just supernatural causes.
He's like, it's a busy day, and it's supernatural causes.
Yeah, we'll just. I don't know the diagnosis, so I'm just gonna say it's supernatural.
Yeah, that makes sense. That works for me. But yeah, so in February 9th, the girls, they were kind of forced to kind of name the people who were, making them act this way and stuff. Mm-hmm. And their accusations, they were forced by Jonathan Corwin and Jonathan Hawthorne. They were both ministers.
Very common name, John.
Yeah, John was, this is Puritans. They're all the same person, pretty much.
Yeah.
So they were forced to name the women, and they named Tituba. Sarah Osborne and Sarah Good. Sarah, another common name.
Yeah, come on, guys.
You're gonna really accuse Sarah Good? She literally has good in her name.
Yeah, she's good. She's good-hearted. But her name was Sarah. She's named after another Sarah who was accused of a witch.
It's two Sarahs.
Are Sarahs witches?
Maybe. I bet if you rearrange the words and then cut up some letters and put them together, it spells witch.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, you add some letters, take away some letters.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. It has an H.
Yeah.
Which also has an H. Interesting. But so it's not great there,
No.
to just be accused
right off the bat.
by a 9-year-old and 11-year-old of being a witch.
Yeah, you're like, oh, fuck, here we go.
This is. I mean, they probably didn't understand what was happening because they probably couldn't read or write.
Yeah, that's true.
Or understand English at a level.
Yeah.
But they were both. They were Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne. The Sarahs. They claimed they were like saying, "Hey, we're not witches. What's going on here?"
Yeah, what the hell?
And the other woman, they both. So Sarah's Dunzo. They got hung.
Yeah, they claim that
like,
they were
You're really. That's something a witch would say.
Yeah, they said they were innocent, and they're like, yeah, right. A witch would say she's innocent.
Yeah, exactly.
Witch say what?
Which is interesting because the other woman, Tituba, she was actually a slave of the Reverend here, of the dad and the uncle here.
Yeah.
But so the thing that's really strange about her is that she actually admitted to doing witchcraft on the girls. And she also was the only one who survived.
Wow.
Interesting. So just claim you're a witch.
Story, yeah, just admit to it because they're probably scared of you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if not just that, it's just, they'll be like, oh, that's something a witch wouldn't say.
Yeah.
A witch wouldn't just come out and say she's a witch. She's just a crazy slave.
That's the thing is, Tituba here, she admitted to all of it, and she said, and quote, "The devil came to me and bid me serve him." Dun dun dun. So people are freaking out. See, they're like, "Oh my God, the devil
just got
talking
slave.
to you.
We're screwed."
The devil hit you with a "you up" text in the middle of the night, and you answered. She
did answer.
And then she started saying that she was having visions of these eerie animals, such as red caps. Which,
common.
Yeah, that's a common thing. This is a spooky one. Yellow birds.
What? Impossible.
Ooh. And black dogs.
Another impossible thing that could never happen.
So those are scary visions.
So she claimed that there were also other witches in Salem. She kind of was like, hey...
this is kind of what...
Hey, there's a bunch of other witches here. You should just start executing people.
Let's just start ending them. Yeah.
I mean, if this was... She could have just made this, like, if she had some education, like, maybe it's some secret education or something, she could have easily done this to, like, stir the pot.
I think she is the one that stirred the pot, because she's smart. She pretty much said, like... I am a witch. The devil spoke to me. Pretty much back the fuck up.
And she has nothing to lose.
Yeah, she's already a slave. And she's like, hey, there's other witches around, so divert your attention off me to other witches. And she'd be
really helpful in the courts. Like, the courts kind of actually enjoyed, like, questioning her because she was so helpful to them, which helpful is, like, probably like... Do you think this woman is a witch? And she's like, yes, I saw her at the witch meeting last Tuesday.
Yes. She actually claimed to go blind during her trial also, saying that the devil was punishing her for confessing. And then so that way it looked like she was showing the court and everyone that she was fighting the devil. So they're like, oh, you know what? You're not too bad. You listen to the devil. We kind of hate you for that. But hey.
But now you're not.
You're fighting the devil.
You're doing the good fight.
Good job.
Yeah, so she spent 1 year and 3 months in jail for this. But then she was one of the last people that were, like, accused to be freed. Oh. So she did freed back into slavery, that is, but
yeah, I mean, how much more great is that? So due to this, on May 27th in 1692, the court of Oyer and Terminer were established by Governor William Phipps.
What a good name.
The good Governor Phipps.
The governor of Massachusetts.
Yeah, and then in total they said that 8 girls were afflicted by witchcraft. So the 8 girls are kind of young girls are leading this show, really,
which is crazy.
Accusations.
Yeah, like they're just believing a bunch of girls. I mean, that is kind of the middle of your age.
That's true.
Aged at this point in time,
like 10 years old.
But it's still like this is all based on just like a bunch of little girls like stories, kind of.
Right.
But in court, someone would like. This was kind of plays to like it's kind of mass hysteria, because they would just be like someone would say this person's gonna be affected by a witch, and then that person would kind of start acting weird, like in court.
Yeah, it's
such a weird.
It's just like, oh, beware, I'm gonna put a spell on you, and you're like,
I kind of just make a show a little bit.
Come on.
Kind of like when you go to a hypnotist and stuff. Like,
yeah,
like, oh, I'm
exactly.
gonna play along.
Yeah, exactly.
But you get this, Bridget Bishop. She was kind of the town gossip. She would always be spreading gossip, like no boundaries, kind of just stirring the pot all the time.
A Karen.
Yeah, a little bit of a Karen. She actually, they got her. They accused her of being a witch, which I think this was kind of just like, let's get rid of this,
Yeah, she's been accusing everyone of everything else.
Yeah, let's get rid of her.
Yeah.
So they determined she was guilty of witchcraft, and she became the first person ever executed in the trials.
So she made history. She was the first witch of Salem Witch.
I mean, maybe the story is snitches or get stitches.
Yeah, that is exactly the moral of the story.
In this
right
situation,
there.
it's not stitches. It's
hanging. She
claimed to be a witch.
She got hung.
She did. But so that was crazy. But so in the 3-month period, it was July of 1962 to September of 1962, 1692. I'm sorry.
1692.
I have a bit of a dyslexia problem with numbers. 18 more people were found guilty and executed for witchcraft, including 4 men. And that's like bizarre because men weren't really considered to be witches at this time. Like in the other witch trials that have happened, like it's not really men.
Very uncommon. And so one of the accused men was George Burrows.
Is that Joe Burrow? Is that his ancestor?
It could be. It very well could be.
Didn't play terrible.
Yeah, didn't play terrible. Anyways. He was a Harvard-educated minister. I didn't know Harvard was this old.
I didn't know Harvard was this old either.
That's pretty impressive.
It must be around since Massachusetts started. It must be in England college originally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he's pretty smart.
Yeah.
But he got it. He was accused by other alleged witches as being the king witch, the mastermind behind all of it.
The head man, the boss man.
They claim that Burrows was biting them in court, and you know what? They looked at the bite marks and they're like, you know what? That looks a lot like George Boy there.
George has teeth, and these bite marks have teeth marks.
Yep,
it has
George.
to be George.
And my question is, he bit him in court. How did no one see this?
Right, and I mean, if he's like a head hunting witch, why would he if he was like the top dog, why would he just be biting them?
Well, I can tell you why. Many people, including the accused witches, claimed in court that they were seeing spirits.
Uh-oh, spirits.
And one of the girls claimed that the spirit had the faces of George's deceased wives. And she said that they were all the color red, like blood red, and they wanted justice for their husband.
My question is, what was going on in these courtrooms?
I know, they were tripping.
Seems like a great time, dude.
They were tripping.
Unless you're one of the witches,
man. Yeah, and so here's a logical explanation for the bite marks. Chief Justice believes that George Burrows used an invisibility cloak given to him by no one other than the devil himself.
That's not great. When the Chief Justice is like, you know what? I found an invisibility cloak of his, and I know that the devil gave it to him.
Yeah, George is probably relying heavily on this Chief
please,
Justice.
someone here have reason.
Yeah, he's like, dude, I'm a Harvard graduate. You guys are all a bunch of idiots. And they're probably like, oh, you're a witch.
He's like, okay, that's something a witch would say.
He's like, okay, I just need to rely on the courts. Everything will be fine. No.
Caught him with the invisibility cloak.
Got him with the invisibility cloak.
But they said that an invisible man or figure was biting the girls. So can we find the invisibility cloak? Where's that? Who has it?
It's invisible. We can never find it.
Do you think George took it?
How do you find an invisibility cloak? If it's always invisible, how do you just have to remember where you put it?
Yeah.
That kind of sucks.
You think George would forget where you put his...
Or maybe if you're a witch, you can change your vision to see it.
Maybe. Yeah, so, that's not a great situation for him. He actually ended up being brought to the execution center here. But before his execution, he actually recited the Lord's Prayer without any mistakes. And that's, you think, okay, so what? But
yeah, whatever.
They say that witches would not be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to recite it without any mistakes or anything. Like they're unable to do it.
Yeah, and then they executed him. They hung him.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, maybe we should have done that.
Yeah, the crowd was like, ooh,
I don't know about that one.
No, that. Yeah, we're kind of going against what we kind of believe in here. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so October 1692. This man, this amazing name, Increase Mather. He was a Puritan minister, implored to the court to not. He's like, guys, please don't consider these supernatural,
Yeah, he was begging, like,
these spiritual things, these spectral things. And at the time, like around the same time that he was like kind of saying this, they got Mayor Phipps's wife.
Yeah, Mayor Phipps.
They brought her in for interrogation.
If you remember, he was the guy that kind of...
He started this whole thing.
Gave the Salem Witch Trials. He's like, all right, we're going to make a court of Oyyers and whatever, Terminer. And so he started this, and then they accuse his wife.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know what? You guys are a bunch of freaking idiots. So they released some people from jail for witchcraft, and they stopped all further arrests. It was kind of like boiling of point.
All right,
he's
guys, don't go after you don't go after my wife. I'm the mayor. I run this show.
Yeah, no, the governor.
Governor.
Sorry. Yeah, but it's like, dude, he let them have their fun with this.
Yeah.
And then they accuse his wife, and he's like, yeah, he stopped it right where it was at.
It's donezo here. We're not going this way anymore.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, that was like, you're not. He had when you're the guy, like, this kind of feeds into he was just letting them do their own thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was like, okay, whatever. I kind of created this. We're gonna just go with it. But then, like, you attacked him personally. Like,
yeah. So then
you attacked the wrong person, really.
Yeah. So then he ended up replacing the court of Oyer and Terminer with the Supreme Court of Judicature. And they permitted them to not use any spectral evidence. Like, that, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
We're not going to use it in court. It's not anything to do with laws or anything, so we're not going to go off that belief.
I think he found the invisibility cloak, and that's why he wanted this to end?
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
wanted
it's mine.
He wanted it all to himself.
Maybe he's still here today.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, overall, 20 people were executed in the Salem Witch Trials, 14 of which being women. And only 6 being men.
That is 20 people.
That is 20 people. I can do math pretty well.
That's some people actually claim that there was also an additional 13 people who just died in prison waiting their
trial, which makes sense because I was reading that over 200 people were accused of this.
That's an
over
insane
200
amount of
people. Like, that's just ridiculous. And 19 of them were hung, and one, by the name of Giles Corey, a man, he was pressed to death because he was refusing to plead guilty.
Getting pressed to death I think, might be a little bit worse than hanging.
Yeah, so they literally laid him down on this bed, right? And then they had, like, these square boulders, and they just, boop, put it on him. And then they'd be like, all right, admit to your guiltiness.
You think after 2 of this guy would be done.
Yeah, and he's like, no, fuck you guys. And then they put another one.
I think that's what he said. Sorry, fuck off.
And then they're like, all right, just admit to it, dude. We don't want to kill you. And he's like, no, man. And then third one. And then, yeah,
they're like, repent. And he's like, not responding because he's dead. They're like, add another one.
Yeah. And then, yeah, he just got squished to death and he died. He died.
That's such a terrible death. Like, living back then would be the worst thing ever, I think.
Yeah. And so all of the accusers were women from the ages of 9 to 20 years old.
So, like, the teenagers, really. Like,
yeah, the teenage girls were running the show. While historically, most witch trials saw men doing the majority of accusations.
And a lot of time when those ones, to be fair, those, like, accusations were like, I hate this woman. She didn't have sex with me.
Yeah.
She's a witch.
She's a witch.
She didn't fall in love with me. She's a witch.
Right, exactly. And, or it'd be like they were caught cheating and they'd be like, oh my god, witch. I fell under a love spell. I'm so sorry. She's a witch.
Or they'd, they'd go with the, like, if a woman does well in something, they would claim she's a witch.
Yeah.
They'd have her killed.
Exactly. Men have always been a little
classic, outstanding move, really.
Yeah.
So let's get into some theories of what was happening, what was going on in Salem here. So, so I got a theory here. It's from Emily Ouster, she's a Harvard PhD. You know, they're kind of pissed that they got one of their own.
Yeah,
they got
true.
him.
That's true.
So she claims this was all explained through economics. She claimed that, you know, because there was a little ice age is what they call it. You know, it was like a tiny, very tiny compared to the actual ice age.
Right.
Between 1550 and 1800, and it like was really bad in the 1680s, 1730s era here. It created like an economical crisis because there were a lot of fishers, and it's Massachusetts, like they have a lot of sea stuff and all that.
Right.
So they claimed that it was like an economical crisis because like people's businesses weren't doing well, people weren't making money or food to feed their families. So she claimed that people were just blaming each other for their hardships, and like it was just a big. And everyone's like, "Hey, I'm doing terrible. You must be a witch." I don't really understand this one that much. I don't think it's really great.
It's kind of far-fetched right there.
Maybe if like people were just like kind of like if there was a mass crime spree, maybe I'd understand that. Like robbing and
that'd
stuff.
be
Like,
something.
this is just people blaming each other being witches.
Yeah, like there's nothing.
Like something has to be going on there.
So I got a theory here by Miss Linda Carprell. She's cool. She's a cool gal. She was a behavioral scientist. She said that they could have been exposed to this kind of fungus called ergot. Which it can be found in grains such as rye, and rye was super common in Salem, and they said because of the moisture and all this crap, it could have infected everyone. And
like runoff.
Yeah. So this ergo, it caused convulsion ergotism, which affects you, such as like giving you hallucinogens as strong as like a ton of doses of LSD.
That would make sense for like all the court cases.
All the courses, everybody's seen that. Vertigo, muscle contractions, and crawling and tingling sensations, which makes sense for you like feeling biting mark, contort, all that.
This actually makes a lot of sense.
I like that theory, but
especially in like the 1600s, they wouldn't know what.
They don't understand.
They don't understand that there's something that in their food or
their
something.
doctor doesn't even know how to write things down.
He just already claimed that it was witches.
He just right off the bat. But the big thing that kind of points to it not being this is convulsion ergotism. It deteriorates your fingernails, and none of the girls that were accusing everyone.
But it could have been maybe. I'm thinking maybe it was like. Maybe they just couldn't tell because they were always dirty.
Yeah, exactly.
They were already hung by the time that stuff would even set in. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that theory is pretty. If
you can kind of explain that away, it makes 100% sense. I think
exactly.
But so the theory that I think is probably one of the most realistic is that it was just a big mass hysteria situation where everyone was kind of very like. This was, I mean, it could have been a little bit of the economics go into everyone was on edge from that. Like maybe the food, maybe they already were having those hallucinations and all this stuff. Like that's going to make a whole community because they were all eating and drinking the same stuff. That would make them all kind of very hysterical and like you start claiming people are witches and people are starting to believe it and all this stuff. Like you're going to...
And I think a lot of people didn't actually believe that it was witchcraft at all. They just hated a neighbor or something, so they're like, "Oh, I'm going to accuse you of witchcraft." Right. You know, that was just like the thing to do. If you got into a fight at the bar, oh, this guy's a witch.
Oh yeah, and these are Puritans, like they're very religious and stuff too. So can't put that out of your head. But so mass hysteria, I think it's the most forward. Like one explains the most, I'd say. Right. It's the most realistic in my mind. But here, theory 4, a Salem merchant at the time. This is during the time of the trials. His name was Robert. I didn't get his last name here. But he accused Samuel.
Robert.
It's Robert, he accused Samuel Paris for exploiting the trials for socio-political gains.
Yeah,
which, I mean, he was the guy who started it. His slave, his daughter, his niece. Exactly. Like, it all kind of connects with him at the beginning. Yeah. And it says that he claimed that he forced his slave to, like, admit to doing, like, being a witch and stuff, to, like, kind of stir the pot and make it, like, so that he can, like, kind of be more powerful.
Yeah,
like,
put his name on the map.
Because he wanted to kind of get a bunch of power in Salem.
Yeah.
And, like, this is a big way to do it,
Yeah,
really.
huge,
I mean, kind of smart, really. Because it did. I got a lot of power from this. I mean, he's the head reverend.
Yeah, exactly. Got his name on the...
So I think that's also... I mean, it makes a lot of sense, too, as well.
I could believe that. And so this was the largest witch hunt in North American history.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts and Connecticut, kind of where all this witchcraft rumors and everything we're talking about... during the same time, only 14 other women and 2 men were executed due to witchcraft. So, like, everywhere else that witches were kind of, like, prevalent.
Not even...
It didn't even...
it didn't even
come close. And so, a lot of people, they think that the Salem Witch Trials, they burned the witches to the... They burned them down at the stake.
Yeah, which I thought.
They used them to drown, put the cinder block around the ankles. That all comes from, like, England and France and all that overseas. That's all that. The Salem Witch Trials were solely hanging and the one guy who got pressed to death.
Yeah, so it was mostly just they were hanging them.
Yeah, they were quick and easy.
Yeah.
Quick and easy, just done.
And a witch couldn't be hung.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
Yeah.
Because they don't need air.
Well, she couldn't say the Lord's Prayer without
That's true.
stuttering.
But like, even if you can, it doesn't matter.
So church must have been super stressful when they did the Lord's Prayer. You're like, oh my God, if I stutter, I'm going to be accused.
If I mess up at all, dude, I'm going to be hung.
Yeah. You people were probably freaking out about that. And so September 22nd, 1693 was the so-called last day of the Salem Witch Trials, where they released everyone in prison. They pretty much admitted,
they're like, okay, guys,
witches
we might have gone a little too far here.
Yeah, too many people have died at this point. So that was kind of the last day. And if you remember Ann Putnam,
of course,
yeah, that woman that was one of the biggest accusers.
Yeah,
she was the only one that formally apologized for accusing people. And, she only accused 62 people.
62
people. Come on, Anne.
That's more than an NFL team, dog.
Yeah, she's like...
She accused 62 people.
Yeah.
How does this count in the first place?
She was feeling bad, At least she apologized. Everyone else didn't. Everyone else didn't apologize.
A little too late at that point.
Yeah, and another fun fact here is none of the people that were hung ever said that they were witches, which makes sense. I mean, that kind of goes without saying.
You don't really. But one of them did.
The only person to say it was
released from prison.
To survive, and she survived. Yeah, to be a slave for the rest of her days.
Yeah, well, not great, but
yeah. So that pretty much wraps up the Salem Witch Trials.
I got this here. You got in 1957. How about this? Massachusetts, they were on cancel watch, all right? They were about to be canceled on Twitter in 1657. They were about to be canceled.
A lot of numbers.
A lot of numbers are going through my brain at this point because this is Twitter back in that time. They're calculating. They had huge retweets on this. Everyone was kind of against cancel. They were going to cancel Massachusetts, but Massachusetts, they put out an apology. They're like, we're sorry for executing people.
Took them a while to do that.
That's on us.
It took them a while.
It took them a while here. But they apologized. Everyone was happy at that end of the day. Except the people who were executed in those,
Yeah, and their families and, everyone.
Those people weren't very happy, but, what are you going to... They apologized.
They got a sorry 300 years later. No big deal.
It's whatever. It's whatever. I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
At least they weren't killed by... maybe don't have a witch in your family.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Not my problem.
Yeah, don't be a witch.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah. Well, then, that kind of wraps it up here for the Salem Witch Trials. It's a crazy story. Just a bunch of weird things happen.
Are you a believer of witches?
No, I don't think it was actual witches. I think it was just a mass hysteria thing. Because there was a whole town. I think their food was probably not great.
Yeah, it was poisoning, not necessarily
just something that messes with your brain.
Yeah, the fungus or something. This was 1692. There's a lot of
stuff happened.
Crap in your food. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just think it was mass hysteria, like you were saying. Yeah, and people were just. And I think that people took advantage of it too. Not everyone.
Like the Reverend.
Yeah,
I think he definitely took advantage of it. Yeah, I'm assuming the Reverend and stuff, they'd be eating from a different area.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd be eating a little nicer.
They didn't see no spirits.
Yeah, no, they didn't see nothing.
So, so that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
it's fun little episode, little spooky episode.
It's always fun to make fun of how stupid the human race was, and
Yeah, exactly.
Before technology, really. And,
yeah.
But Even to this day, but it's just like
Yeah.
dumbed down. Maybe we have a few more smart people. Who knows?
Yeah, a lot of
Probably
false
not.
accusations.
But
all that. But yeah, so I just want to reiterate, thank you guys for all your reviews and everything. I won't stop thanking you. Just get used to it at this point.
Yeah.
I won't stop it.
Don't fight it. Why would you fight it?
Yeah,
if you fight it, you're a
fight
witch, and I'm gonna get the
just let me
Salem
come
boys
and hug
after
you.
you.
Just let me come over here and just give us a big hug.
Yeah.
But
sure.
moving forward, I do want to say that on Thursdays we're gonna do audio only, and on our for now, and for our Sunday releases we'll do the video and we'll do the audio so you guys can see us and
get both.
We'll have fun. We'll have fun doing it. So that's what it'll be moving forward. So we can just keep producing great content and everything for you guys. So
yeah.
So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The World Within.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do.
Join our Patreon, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and catch us next week. Thank you.